What's poppin', people? It's Dante, filming with the GoPro Mini 1080p, exported to 720p at 30 FPS for that sexy small file size and crispy potato quality. And today I have some advice for any street photographers, whether you're new, been doing it for a while, etc. Yeah, I think that my advice for any street photographer out there is to really hone in on your curiosity, right? To not be bogged down by a one mode or one way of doing things, to just be in a state of remaining open, to be in a state of play, right? To always go out there on the streets with a childlike perspective where you are starting new each day. You're never a master and merely an amateur with a camera. Yeah, I think it's important to think this way. I think that going forward, the amateurs of the streets are going to be the ones that determine what it was like to live in a certain place at a certain time, not the professional photographers, right? The professional is merely a camera operator, but the street photographer is an artistic creator. So we have to think of it this way, right? So it's a creative process, street photography, and it's an ethos. It's a way of doing things where there's no one way of doing it. There's no definitions, there's no rules, there's nothing that's going to tie you down to this specific thing that we call street photography. So just recognize that anything and everything is photographable, and anything can be street photography, right? Whether you photograph the people, the places, the landscapes, the details, just stay curious and to stay in a state of production where you're not looking for any praise for your work. You're just doing it for yourself at the end of the day, and you really do believe in this process as a way of life, right? Where we're going out there and exploring and giving ourselves an excuse, right? It's merely an excuse to go out there and to see life, to listen to the music, to look at the beautiful faces, and to have new experiences in the embodied reality that we live in, as physical life is everything and motivation is in the movement of your legs. So walk further distances, strive to make 1,000 pictures each day, try to get to 30,000 steps each day. You know, I think it's good to set higher goals when it comes to your abilities, right? Don't underestimate yourself. It's a good thing to photograph. It's a beautiful thing. We're extracting something out of nothing, right? We're creating something beautiful out of the world that we live in. You know, but I believe when you're approaching this, think of it as your own world, right? Your own universe, your own timeline, where the photos that you create are a stream of becoming, right? We're not looking to set out to make these one-piece, one-hit wonder songs, but to make full-length discographies, not even an album, right? Forget about the zine, forget about the book, the gallery. Just focus on making pictures for now. The future is bright for media. We, together as a human species, consume often, whether it's on the phone, the TV, whatever. People like to watch, people like to listen, people like to look at art, right? And the art that we leave behind will describe what it was like to live at a certain time. And when you look at the sculptures and the beautiful architecture that people have built here in Rome, this is the representation of humanity. This is what they evoke through their craft, through their medium of sculpting, of architecture, of painting and drawing. With these new modern tools, with these Ricos, with these GoPros, we can uplift the voice of an artist. We can make something out of nothing and abstract reality through the small JPEG, high contrast, black and white aesthetic. Color is beautiful too, right? I did color for a long time, but I'm looking forward to creating new work. And to do this in a way where you're making memories for yourself, right? You're just creating these memories for you to go back and look at when you're older as like a little time capsule, right? It's a time capsule, a stream of becoming. At the end of the day, your photographs are a projection of your visual acuity and your eye, right? So your eyesight is what determines your quote-unquote like skill, right? Your sort of raw talent, if you will, when it comes to your photographs. And yeah, just recognize that observation runs this sort of game. It's a physical pleasure as much as a visual one, so just remember that. This is more of like a conqueror's game to play, where you're really out there exploring on your 2 feet and going into places where otherwise you wouldn't have. It's good to think that way. Just give yourself that excuse to go out and play.